All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Let's talk about the 2023 and newer Super Duties, specifically taillights like these. This is a Lariat. As you can see, these taillights have bulbs on the brake and tail portion right here and LED reverse. It does have blind spot monitoring here. So we've made a plug-and-play kit for this. Now the fallback, you can always use a no-cut wire swap kit for these lights as well. You'll just simply need to remove the wire from the connector. But if you're interested in plug-and-play, what we've got here is the plug-and-play kit for the lower trim line, incandescent, but LED reverse tail lights like this. The 30-foot power control cable, which is conveniently labeled with all of the 5-wire functions all along the exterior jacket, is going to go from the passenger tail light forward along the frame to your auxiliary switches. If you don't happen to have auxiliary switches, you can, if you wish, reverse mount this and run that 30 feet up the driver's frame and into the driver's footwell area for a standard switch. So depending, if you have factory auxiliary switches, which most trucks have, run your 30-foot up the passenger side and put the module on the passenger side. If you're running an aftermarket switch and you'd prefer to have your power come in on the driver's side, simply flip the entire kit, mount the module here, and run the power forward and run the other wire over to the passenger light. It does not matter which way the kit mounts. It's simply easier for the power wire to run up the passenger side because the factory auxiliary connection point is on the passenger fender under the hood. So the first thing you're going to need to mount this kit up is an 8mm socket in the driver. I have it on my drill. We remove the 4 screws. There's 2 in each tail light, and then we'll simply remove the tail light. We remove the tail light by pulling it with an outward motion. There are pins here and here, like the older trucks. You can see it's a little loose, and as we pull it in an outward motion, you'll hear that. Sounds like it's breaking. It's usually not. You can disconnect the light bulb from here to get a little bit more room if you'd like. And as you can see on the back of the tail light here, those are the pins that engage the body here. So those are what you're pulling, and the motion that you want to go with is this. It is not a pull backwards. It is a pull like this. Okay, that'll help it. Now, once you get into the taillight, it's very easy. You just simply unplug this connector. That's all we're worried about. We're going to put that light bulb right back, but we're going to be unplugging and plugging this connector right here. And it's as simple as taking the WAF unit, plugging it in, and then plugging this other connector into here, making sure you hear that audible click on each connector so everything lines up perfectly. And as I said, listen for the click. That click and firm seating is what you want with these connectors. That's it. That's as easy as this plug and play connector goes to mount to your Super Duty. I want to make a mention also that with these connectors, force is never the issue. If you're having some problems getting the connector to mate together, try to wiggle and slightly move and adjust the angle, because chances are one of the little tiny pins is just slightly out of alignment. So forcing these connectors, never the answer. It takes a small touch. You might have to wiggle it a little bit. Be patient with the connectors. Now we've gone ahead and reassembled everything and powered up our unit. As you can see, you now have alternating or simultaneous, depending on one of the 29 patterns you pick, strobe light flashing on your reverse lights. Now these kits carry 2 features. One is for the flashing. This will override any factory reverse action right now. So if you put it in reverse, it's still going to flash. The flashing takes precedence over factory reverse action. However, we also included a steady on or flood mode. So if you're interested in using your reverse lights as a secondary work light, you can set up a second switch with the flood input or the white input of this flasher. Now keep in mind, of course, no factory function will be lost. Once you turn off the flasher, your factory reverse lights will work perfectly normal, and you don't permanently lose or modify any of the factory features when you're switched off. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration on the lower end trim line incandescent tail lights with factory LED and factory bliss. It's a plug and play system for our auto flasher. You don't have to cut a wire, touch a wire, or do anything but unplug and plug the lights as we've shown. Thanks for tuning in. Any questions or comments? go ahead and get in touch with us via email, and we'll get back to you just as soon as we can.